I'm Chris, and the activity we're going to do is about solving a puzzle. And it's a simple puzzle, and it's from the game Petson's Inventions. This is the puzzle we're going to solve. The animal wants to eat the juicy red apples but can't reach them. We can press the switch, but nothing happens. The things we can move are these carrots and this rope. So you probably guessed where things go, but maybe you're wrong, maybe you're right. Do the carrots go on the seesaw? Do we give the carrots to the cow? Oh, there they go, into the wooden basket or bucket. I'll press the switch now, and the cow moves towards the carrots and starts to eat them. This rope is attached to the big rock and the hook on the back of the cow. So there's a harness with a hook on, which means when we press the switch, the cow goes to get the carrots and pulls the rope, which makes the rock move down the seesaw and lifts up the animal. Perfect. Now we've solved the puzzle, I'm going to put some pictures together to help us to explain how it's done. First of all, we put the carrots into the wooden basket. After that, we carefully attached the rope to the big boulder and the cow. Next, we pressed the switch, and finally the animal could reach the crunchy apples. For each of the pictures, I'm going to record my voice and play it back to explain each stage of how we solved the puzzle. First of all, we put the carrots into the wooden basket. First of all, we put the carrots into the wooden basket. Next, we attached the long rope to the heavy rock and the cow. Next, we attached the long rope to the heavy rock and the cow. After that, we pressed the lever. After that, we pressed the lever. Finally, the animal could reach the crunchy, juicy apples. Finally, the animal could reach the crunchy, juicy apples. And I'd like you to join in now. So I'm going to say a sentence for each picture, and if I put my hands close to my ears, it means I want to hear you calling out. So whatever word you think fits best, just say it when I stop. And I'll begin. First of all, we placed the carrots carefully into the wooden. After that, we securely attached the rope to the large rock and the. Then we pressed the. Finally, the animal was able to reach the juicy, fresh. Next, everyone will need a partner to work with, someone to speak to and listen to. Your teacher may need to pause the video to arrange pairs, and when that's done, decide who is number 1 going first and who is number 2 going second. Hands up number 1s, you're first, and hands up number 2s, you're second. And you're going to take it in turns to describe each stage of how the puzzle was solved. Number 1 will explain about the basket and the carrots. Number 2 about the rope and the rock and the cow. Number 1 pulling the lever, pressing the switch, and number 2 will talk about the animal reaching the apple at the end. So I'm going to ask number 1 to explain now what happened first. Over to you, number 1, go. Number 2, what happened after that? Number 1, what happened then? And number 2, what happened at the end? I'm going to see if I can explain the whole sequence, and then I'm going to ask one of you to have a try. So I've got the pictures to help me. Here we go, my turn. First of all, we carefully placed the carrots into the wooden basket. After that, we securely attached the long rope to the large rock and the cow. Next, we firmly pulled the lever, and finally, the animal was able to reach the fresh, juicy apples. Now, it's time for somebody in the class to have a try. You might want to come and stand at the front, you might stay sitting down, or you might just stand where you are and explain each stage of the process to the rest of your class. When that person has been chosen by your teacher, the video can be paused so you can still see the pictures ready to explain. I'm going to see now if I can do it without looking at the pictures. I'm going to try to imagine them in my mind, but I'm still going to explain each stage. Here goes. First, we put the carrots into the basket. Next, we attached the rope to the cow and the big boulder. Following that, we pulled the lever. Finally, the animal was lifted up by the seesaw and could reach the juicy apples. Next, somebody in the class can try this without looking at the pictures. You won't go wrong, and your teacher and the other children in the class will help if you get stuck. But picture in your mind each stage of the puzzle and then explain it. So when you're ready and your teacher has chosen someone, this video should be paused. The final stage is writing. So if you're going to write, you're certainly ready now. And I'd like you to write the instructions for somebody who's solving this puzzle. And this won't take you long. All of the ideas are in your head. First they do this, next they do this, then they do this, finally this happens. And that's the final part of this lesson. So if you're going to write, go for it. You've got lots of ideas to explain, and thank you for joining in.